you it, or do you want to just put it out?
If that really happened, I really think
Look, you wouldn't know, right? 'Cause you're in here having a blast.
it's
In there
true. And if we
having a
do have
slice.
that, hold on. If that really did happen,
And now my girl is texting me. I'm in trouble. She's seen me pop up in here. I didn't call her because I came in here to tell you to call me. My whole life is just it's going down the toilet. I'm going to call my future wife, and then I'll come back and play with y'all. I'm in trouble. Look now. A fight happened.
Tajay, give him a break.
No, she's seen my name. My girl get every notification of my every movement. So she's seen Joe in here talking to Danny and Ian. She texts me, gotta be kidding me. And now I'm in trouble. So everything is awry already. It's over. I just came on stage to tell you to give me a call whenever you can. Ian, you got a good sit down coming with me. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh.
I can't wait.
Joe would even go so far as to upload and remove a photo of Mr. Beast. But what circumstances would have arisen now? Joe Budden discloses that two of his co-hosts nearly got into a fight. Joe Budden would now reveal this shocking information to me about the spaces. And I have to admit, even though some people might think it's all in vain, I think something did happen. This is how it all happened. Joe Budden would go on stage and tell Ian Schwartzman, Joe Budden's manager and co-founder of the Joe Budden Network, "Call me. As soon as you can, give me a call. My mail has been ignored by you. I must speak with you." It was intriguing because I had the impression that Joe was taking advantage of us. He's attempting to, give the impression that something is different from what it actually is. However, when the call or the space continued, I thought, wait, this is real. I do believe that there was an altercation between two of the co-hosts, and everything that transpired after that showed me that Joe's claims had some merit and that he wasn't necessarily lying all the time. He goes on to add that his girl was unhappy since she seemed to talk to him about the two co-hosts following this incident. Joe has openly stated on the podcast that he enjoys pillow talking, as everyone is aware. I presume that Joe has discussed everything with his girlfriend for everyone who has experienced something on the show. Joe's girlfriend is undoubtedly aware of what transpired with Mrs. Ford, but it is a topic for another video. This chat about spaces was strange, but even worse was when he uploaded a picture of Mr. Beast to Instagram with the caption, "Just a reminder to smile through it all, but remain a beast." He quickly deleted this. Now, this might have some meaning. For example, why would Joe upload a photo of Mr. Beast and then remove it? Also, as you may recall, Mr. Beast had a situation at work where a number of former workers were disparaging him, claiming that he fostered a toxic workplace where employees felt under pressure to perform for the amusement of others. Is Joe implying that then? Additionally, Mr. Beast would post through it, create stuff, and never really address it in a hardcore manner in order to handle his quote-unquote cancellation. He would discuss it with a trusted person on a channel that he knew wouldn't take it there. Is that what Joe is talking about? Since I believe Joe Budden is aware of what transpired with Mr. Beast. Then there's a picture that was taken on the set itself, and it was a fascinating one, since it showed Ice Flippish, Imani, and Juan present, with Mona seated behind J1. So that's an additional interesting aspect. J1 is back, guys. What's happening? Why is Joe sitting in the park seat? Why is Joe implying that there was a fight of some kind? Is Joe merely trying to manipulate us and wanting to focus on the stage to attract the audience's attention? Is this thing for real? Did something happen? Joe's haste in wanting to speak with Ian gave me the impression that something had happened. And I don't believe there is, however, the image that shows Parks absent. Was Joe and Parks involved in it? And who else might have been involved? This is a photo of Marc Lamont, after all. Or was it Mark and Flip who had been making ridiculous jokes about each other? Could that kind of circumstance have existed? If there is ever a fight, I presume Flip is engaged because he enjoys inciting conflict and it's sort of his specialty. He resolves conflicts by creating tension. He manipulates things, for example, by threatening a fight and then trying to break it up. It's like, oh, I'm going to pretend like I'm going to fight somebody and then everybody's going to break it up and then I'm going to get my points across. Many men who participate in confrontation use this subtle persuasion. Tell me what you think, though. What do you suppose Joe's appearance in the space was intended to achieve? I was surprised. For those of you who argue that Joe wouldn't do this because he wouldn't disclose what goes on behind the scenes, I believe that Joe simply has a brain that makes it impossible for him to keep things to himself, particularly if he believes it will entertain an audience, even if it could actually damage his brand. When you consider some of the most significant outbursts on the podcast, I believe the first one was when he confronted Mole and told him, "This show is none of your business." Mole had asked him some questions. Then, because Flip was being rowdy, Joe Budden got into an argument with him and threatened to fight him. Joe then liked to get at him and quarrel with him in a number of other circumstances. Even if there was never a full-fledged altercation in those situations, I'm just pointing out that Joe isn't always going to hide anything that happened behind the scenes. Joe is undoubtedly eager to share the truth about what actually transpired with Melissa Ford. It was also fascinating to hear Joe discuss what his girl was requesting of him. In essence, she appeared to be upset with him sharing the stage with me and the several events on the show. A bunch of messy, sour things. However, please share your thoughts in the comments section. The remainder of this discussion may be found on Patreon. Joe spent 5 to 10 minutes there, thus he departed. The problem was that he and Ian went, and I assume they had the call they were discussing. The fact that they failed to return despite their assurances that they would just shows a lot, and I think something did happen. My assumption is that Marc Flip was involved in the near fight. Since I don't understand why Joe was occupying Parks' seat, it's possible that Parks was involved with Joe. Who was making the noise? Who's in charge of the engineering? Is Parks acting as an off-camera mediator? What was happening? That being stated, come with me. I believe I previously mentioned that, but use the Patreon to connect. There is a lot of material there, so make sure to visit. I just dropped 2 pods too, and in one of those pods I was dissecting Melissa Ford's departure and went into great length about potential outcomes. But it appears that the Joe Budden podcast is getting even more attention. Okay everyone, Danny from The Stop is here. Calm.
Yo, did Joe Budden really just expose his own co-hosts? On a wild Twitter space, Joe hinted that Marc Lamont Hill and Queen's Flip nearly came to blows. Fans say it's just promo, but Joe calling his manager mid-space and deleting a Mr. Beast post? That's got people thinking something real went down behind the scenes. Is Joe stirring the pot for content or leaking the truth about tension on the set? Marc versus Flip, who do you believe? Drop your thoughts below and stay tuned, this story is just heating up.